All right, all right. So let me see, man. Let me get this shit. Looking at this, man, like that's a simple question, man. Like, on this channel, it's critical thought. Back with another video. We got another video for y'all today. Regarding critical thought. And so this video we're gonna talk about business. We're gonna go into economics or business in this video. We're gonna talk about and discuss a few things, man. The first thing I want to say is the importance of empathy to a level of just doing things in the sense to where it's like it's good for the you're doing it for the good of somebody, doing it for the customer. And it's the fact that having good intentions, is not the same as just like showing or verbally expressing, not verbally, but just like externally expressing that you have good intentions. So externally expressing that you have good intentions is important, you know what I'm saying, in business. Or in general, externally expressing that you have good intentions is important because, that allows the person to, like, I guess, sort of visually see or be expressed to that the person cares. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's important. Visual or like, expressed, actually like physically or like externally expressing your empathy or how you feel, your empathy, how you feel, you know what I'm saying, your emotions, your care is important. And that's very important in business, verbally expressing that. And the other thing, especially in terms of business is that's important, because not only that, it allows, people to sort of resonate. It gives a more clear, concise message in terms of the people can grasp it and resonate with it. In a sense to where it's like, it's visible and it's like, it's in a way where, general, the eye of a person can sort of look at it and sort of recognize or identify with it. You know what I'm saying? To a sense to where it's like, okay, it's in this form, it's this word with this color. I'm instantly feeling it. Like I'm already interconnecting, sort of thing. I'm already it's a general conceptualization almost to where like, okay, so a brand is you have a brand and it's you may be motivating or maybe maybe saying or portraying a message or saying something, and instantly, I'm saying that the consumer gets it, picks up on it, and then of course they're instantly, motivated by it. You know what I'm saying? That you may say, like reinforce yourself, protect yourself, stay positive, something like this, or something like, do you care about you, right? or something like that. Like, say care, you care for you, love yourself, treat yourself, something like that. People will instantly identify with something like that, right? That says that, like love yourself, and it's just like, okay, so by loving yourself, treat yourself, and you have equipment, say with a bunch of bags or something, what I'm saying? And that could be just like what's being, that's sort of the message being sent, it's just to love yourself and show that you love yourself. And I think it's in a sense to where it I think it's in a sense to where it's like, in terms of like business, it's just being able to have a message, a clear, concise message. And just like we talked about with being empathetic with the customer or the consumer, it's just being able to like articulate and portray the message in the way of the customer, like viewing it through the consumer's perspective, what I'm saying, to a sense to where they can sort of see and conceptualize it, or they can like, they can sort of it's portrayed in a way and positioned in a way where the consumer can conceptualize it and be able to identify with it and be able to sort of resonate with it, so they can then, make a purchase. You know what I'm saying? So they can then, go ahead and it insinuates them to make a purchase. So that's the thing about business, right? That's the thing about business. That's the thing about empathy. It's just being empathetic to the customer. You know what I'm saying? It's just actually thinking about the customer, to a point to where, the customer can, identify with what the message is being portrayed. You know what I'm saying? Because it's tapping into something that's empathetic with them. And then, from that aspect of it, it then almost like insinuates, the consumer to make a purchase. You know what I'm saying? Or to sort of just interact and engage with, or to make a purchase, out of the business. So that's important. The other thing, about this is, looking at that aspect of it, the other thing we wanted to talk about, like on this channel, Critical Thought, is we wanted to talk about a few things, actually. That being the first thing, and the other thing is most certainly, man, I got a lot I want to say, but I'm not gonna lie, this is, the other thing I want to talk about in this video, is regarding, I'll say, we got a few things we want to talk about. But the other thing I do want to say and talk about in this video is, it's really, it's really just like, another thing I did want to talk about in this video is most definitely just, your focus, right? When things, just confusion, like when things don't make sense, it's a lot of things are, sort of willing, your will to sort of just will things together, things that don't make sense, things that can't be conceptualized, things that, don't make sense, it just doesn't make sense, and it's just sophisticated, and it's just sophistication to the point where it doesn't make sense. There's no conceptualizing it. There's none of that. So how do you maneuver through spaces like this that doesn't make sense, that there's no answer, there's no way, there's no direction, there's no guidance, there's no answer, there's no nothing, like, to a sense to where, like, I'll say it like this, right? Because I don't think that came off right. To a sense to where there's no, it doesn't make any sense. So how do you still perform, especially, if you're used to, you know, things that make sense and things being laid out. It's a matter of willing, willing things together. How do you, sort of just maneuver through spaces that are not tangible, they're not concrete, like, stuff that's just not concrete, like, and it just doesn't, and it's not sensible, it's not sensible, it's not concrete, but you have to make it happen, where is the, sort of, I guess, the will, or, just the obedience to that understanding that, you have to make it happen. Like, I don't understand it, but, I just keep going because, this is what I'm supposed to do, that sort of thing, right? Even though I don't understand it at all, it doesn't make any sense. There's no logical answer behind it. How do I just, how do how do you really just keep going, to sort of just make something happen, like, sometimes, to be honest, like, it's not even about, like, sometimes in those case scenarios, it's not even about just doing things to try to make something happen through a process. Sometimes the process, it is the process, it is the process. And it's like, that was the whole objective in the first place. That was the plan. That was the obedience, is just to follow the process, a lot of times, and it's not about, like, okay, so what can I get out of this? No, it's just following the process. The process is what you get out of it, and it's that obedience, that you then come to respect, is what you get out of it. I think that's the other topic we really want to talk about and discuss, or, like, really about things that don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. There's no logic behind it. There's no, like, wait, what if I do this? What am I gaining out of this? Like, what is the way? What is the direction? What am I getting? No, it's just, it's like, at the end of the, like, it's not even about gaining something tangible. Sometimes it's not even about gaining anything tangible. Like, it's just, you just do it. You just do it just because this is the process. Like, and in the process, and then that's it. That's the reward. That's what you gain out of it. Another thing, that we wanted to talk about, like, regardless of, process, other than process, and just, like, understanding, like, processes happen, like, what I'm saying? Process is a process. And then, like, that's the thing about it. Like, that's what we really wanted, is the process. The other thing we want to talk about, beyond, empathy, and beyond just, like, really just, like, that state of just, like, level of confusion, and it's just in process, is understanding that you're building patterns, right? It's a state of mad confusion, but you're not trying to go anywhere. You're trying to build a process. You know what I'm saying? And it's different than just that's different than just trying to obtain something tangible or attain some sort of materialistic thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a process. You know, it's a process that you're building, you know, and that process becomes, you know, your life, becomes your reward. So, you know, other than that, you know, the next thing I wanted to talk about, regardless of that, like, you know, is um uh right. So we talked about, like we said, we talked about process. We talked about like things not making sense. It's okay when things don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? It's okay, you know, because it's not supposed to make, some things aren't supposed to make sense in terms of, you know, common sense or logical sense to where like you gain something tangible, like, you know, because those aren't even the best rewards in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, you know, the best rewards are like the intangible ones, the process ones, the ones where you build process and you just go through, experience things, and, you know, you build a process. You know, those are the best ones. So, you know, there's that, you know, and then there's there's you know, doing things what's it called? Empathetic, right? Being empathetic about how other folks feel and stuff like that, and just sort of just performing, just putting things together, you know, that fit, you know, what other people feel, you know. And a third thing, like I want to talk about, right, is another thing I want to talk about is just, it's just the nature of, I guess, just folks, you know, living in it depends on what area you're living in, you know, and it's really just, you know, man, like folks got so much going on. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got their own life story, you know what I'm saying? And is trying to progress in their own way, you know? And it's just like, I don't care what other motherfuckers got going on. I don't care about any type of setbacks or anything. Like, I don't care about none of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to grow, do what I'm doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to grow and see my business flourish. I'm trying to see the goodness. I'm trying to see this thing, the goodness of this business flourishing. Like, actually, like, I'm trying to see this thing flourish. I don't care about nothing else. You know what I'm saying? I don't. You know, shit is not even important. Like, you know, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like, no, like, I'm trying to see I'm trying to see progress in business. You know, I want to see my business progressions. I want to see progress in my business. You know what I'm saying? I want to see it. I want to measure it. I want to see my business grow. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about none of that other stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? As, you know what I'm saying? Straight point blank period. Ugh. That's all anybody cares about, for real. You know, that's all anybody cares about, right? Straight up. It's literally just business. You know what I'm saying? I have a dream and I have a business that I want to pursue, and I'm going to pursue that business and I'm going to pursue that dream. Point blank period. You know, like, straight up. Everything else, like, I don't care about. You know, I really don't care about, you know. If it doesn't align with my journey, I don't care about it, and it's that simple. You know, and it's like, that's it. That's all it is. Like, all this other stuff is just really, really stupid. You know, I'll say it like this, right? That's all I care about. You know, is all I care about is business, is my business. You know what I'm saying? That's all I care about. That's all I care about because it's like that's what I put my heart and soul into. It's what I've dedicated my life to, put my heart and soul into. My whole, thought process and train of thought has been poured into business. So I couldn't care less about anything else, because all of my thought processing, all of my mind, and like, I'll say this, right? Mentally, I poured everything into business. I poured everything into this, I put everything into this vision, into this dream, and I couldn't care less about anything else. You know, I really couldn't. I don't care about anybody else's business. I don't, because I got so much cooking over here that I really don't want to spend time or energy into anything else, because I got so much cooking here. You know, in terms of just, business period, is just like I said, that's I pour my heart and soul into this, I really put in work to this, and I have a passion about something, you know what I'm saying? Passion, to do something. So I don't, that's my thing. I have a passion for something. So I'm not going to, I don't care, about anything outside of the passion, And if I can achieve that, then it's just like, that's what's important, to me. And that's sort of the thing, is just achieving, achieving what I'm passionate about, and that's just it, you know what I'm saying? Anything else is just like, it just is what it is, right? You know what I'm saying? Nothing else should be able to take, nothing else can take my mind, point blank period, or my mind or attention. Like, nothing else can take my mind or attention, you know what I'm saying, that's outside of just my like what I'm passionate about doing. Because, that's what I'm passionate about doing. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. I've been doing this for how long now? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no way and ain't no way I'm gonna let anything, like, anybody says, like, I'm not, or thinks, I'm not gonna let anything, anything, like, just point blank period. I'm not gonna let anything just distract me or, like, take me away from, or just sort of, I guess, alter my attention away from just, like, what I'm passionate about, because it's like I'm passionate about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like, that's just how it is. I'm passionate about it, so, like, I'm not going to spend excess energy, like, on other things, period. Understanding that everybody else got their own thing going on, and, it's just like, I couldn't care less, and vice versa. I'm sure, and that's how it should be. So the other thing we wanted to talk about, in this joint on the Critical Thought channel, I think another thing is just, just self-care, self-efficacy, self-efficacy, efficacy. I don't know how to say it, but you know, to perform at the level that you want to perform at, I mean, you gotta take care of yourself in a certain to a degree that allows you to be able to perform at that specific level. You know, whatever it may be. And I think that's the number one crucial thing, as far as I can see. Using a neutral perspective, like a neutral eye, neutral lens, that's as far as I can see, that's probably the truest thing I can say. As far as I can see is taking care of yourself, or to an extent that allows you to be able to perform, you know what I'm saying? Like tasks that you got to perform, like you got certain tasks you want to do, or certain things you want to do or perform, see certain key points you want to hit. Like you got to take care of yourself to a certain degree that, get yourself to a level that allows you to be able to, take care and do those things. Because like you can't do those things, if you don't take care of yourself to a certain degree. It's just not possible, and then like to do those things. And that's kind of the thing, right? Because there's no upholding, I guess, like a professional system, or like a functional professional system in which you dream of doing, what you're passionate about doing, and what you see and consider yourself doing, right? You know what I'm saying? Without proper self-care and management of, your own self, that will allow you to be able to perform at that level, right? And the level that you dream of performing at, or that you're, obligated or are supposed to be performing at, or rather, you're meant to perform at. It's like, and it's just like you could have a dream, like, and you've sophisticatedly, all sophisticated blueprints attached. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like your passion, your cause, all this sort of stuff, right? Connected to that dream or that passion, or just that intentional space where you should be, or that's all that space you should be, right? And where you're supposed to be, and it's just like, you got to take into consideration, just take into consideration, just take that into consideration, and so just like, what you're trying, like, what I'm saying, your state of being, your functional state, and how well you can perform at that level, right? And how well you are performing, and how well you can perform at that level, right? Based on how you treat yourself, you know what I'm saying, and how you take care of yourself. And I think that's the number one important thing that we want to talk about in this video, is just like how you take care of yourself that allows you to be able to perform at the level that you're trying to perform at, and to just be the person you're trying to be, and take care of the people who you're trying to take care of, right? And be able to just serve the people you're trying to serve. All, saying, all through just performing at, the level that you're trying to perform at, and follow the dream, and pursue the assignments, or the tasks, or the goals that you're trying to hit, right? And just reach your expectations, the ones you set for yourself. It's just, so I think, so I think that's the last note I have, in this video. is to take care of yourself, because, you know, that's the only way you can perform at, you know, where you're trying to perform at or the level you're trying to perform at, man. That's all it is, you know. That's all it is, man. Take care of yourself so you can perform at the level you're trying to perform at. So peace, love, and yeah, man, we have this journey, man.